Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the podcast for a meeting of the clans. Welcome to Paws Clause, a podcast where we read the Warrior Cats books in chronological order. I'm Scout, joined by my co-host and rat butler haver, Jill, and today we will be discussing A Vision of Shadows, Book 3, Shattered Sky.
Hello, Scout.
Hello. We got more than one clan here today in this book.
We got more than one. Yeah, they're all like crowded up here in my office, and it's a little bit tight fit in here.
Rowan Star, can you like back off a little bit? Like, I know that you have a whole inferiority complex going on right now, but this is just a little bit too much. I'm trying to podcast.
And I didn't want to say anything, but I can see Tigerheart over there just kind of like making googly eyes over at Dovewing. And I don't know if like there's something going on there or like if he's just,
It seems like it could be, it
could be nothing. It could be nothing.
It could mean nothing. It could mean nothing. It's probably nothing. They're probably just really good friends.
You know what? I bet they are. Because they went on that journey
with the beavers
5 years ago.
Remember the beavers?
Like, I think
it was.
Yeah, so I think like they were probably really good. Probably really good friends. So
super
okay,
normal.
I won't be worried about that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what Ivy Pool is on about, honestly.
Yeah, she's getting a little bit.
She's just a little bit controlling of her
uptight
sister,
about it.
Like
totally
let her live her life.
Exactly. Jesus.
Wow.
These cats are a fucking mess in this book, you guys.
What a fucking mess we're in. I love it. I love mess.
It's delicious. What a fun time. I'm so excited to get into it.
I'm so excited to talk about this book. But yes, as we caught, I got a little bit of a little extra special intro today because one of the things that I kept noticing, I'm always locked in anytime they're doing the clan meeting call because of our podcast. Like since we started this podcast, this is the thing. I'm always 100% locked in every time they do a clan meeting call. And I really liked that it was really elegant change from clan meeting to meeting of the clans because we have minimum 3 clans in ThunderClan right now.
Yeah, they're all bundled up in there, huh?
It's the, it could always be worse story in there. You bring the cow into the house, you bring the goat into the house, you bring RiverClan into the house.
Into the house. You bring ShadowClan into the house.
One by one.
You bring a 5th Mystery Clan into the house.
And then when they all leave, you realize how much space you actually have.
Yeah,
and you learn to
pretty nice.
Yeah, you learn
and you're
to really
like,
feel
oh yeah, you know what?
what
Okay, this is really great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh man.
I will go back to I won't completely just say Rat Butler Haver and not go back to it. We were playing.
No, we can just skip over it if we want. Like we don't have to explain.
We were playing Draw Steel yesterday, and Jill's character had a rat man butler, and I was obsessed with him, and I loved him.
Yeah, he's pretty dope.
I loved your character too, but your butler just really spoke to me.
Oh, yeah, no, the butler is great. I just thought he was such a fun ad after they took away my special migraines.
Sometimes you get the newest version of
sometimes
of the
you get
rulebook,
nerfed,
and you take
sometimes your character gets nerfed, and then you decide to get a butler instead of exploding headaches.
Exploding you with my brain.
Yeah, Draw Steel's very fun.
Draw Steel's great.
Y'all should get on that if you're into heroic fantasy RPGs.
Yeah.
I think it's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's not technically like out yet, but
still in playtest.
You can get in their Patreon and get the playtest stuff.
You can get the materials.
You can acquire it.
You can acquire the materials.
Speaking of acquiring things.
Speaking of, how is the prey running, Jill? Are you going to tell me about a little thing you have acquired this week?
Yeah, I am. I feel like there's a lot to talk, quite a bit of Warrior Cats news to talk about this week.
Hell yeah.
Notably, because I think this is our first recording in Pride Month, right?
Yes, happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride. This is our first recording in Pride Month.
In Pride. And
we had an episode come out earlier. But,
our only recording in Pride Month, I think, because of scheduling issues this month.
Yes.
This is the Pride episode.
Yes, this is the gay one.
This one is the gayest.
No other episode of this podcast is gay.
It's never been gay before.
And it never will be again. I am
drawing the line.
Drawing the line. So there has been some breaking news in the Warrior Cats graphic novel front. Spoilers for the next, couple minutes or so. If you have not seen the preview pages and don't want to know, but we get confirmation that Ravenpaw and Barley are actually mates. They have said it on page. It is official. I genuinely started crying when I saw that. I was over the moon.
They're legit. This is something we predicted might happen, and I'm so glad that we were right.
Yeah. And I think, it is definitely not like we've said before, it is definitely maybe the least that the team can do to make one gay pairing canon. However, I would like to say in children's literature, and especially in the climate we are living in right now, I think this is massive. I think choosing to explicitly state that a prominent character in a children's book is gay in today's everything that's going on, I think is a really, really strong move, and I am so happy about it.
Yeah. I mean, we are living in a time of deep conservatism, and some would argue it's not regression. I still feel like there is, people have gotten angrier about queerness, or at least louder about their anger, and it has become more forefront and more socially accepted to be angry and intolerant of queerness in the last couple of years. And so, like you said, I agree that this is a breath of fresh air to see amidst all that, especially as it is something that has been so unofficially official about the work for so long.
Yeah. So that has been official Warrior Cat. Well, that's one piece of official Warrior Cats news. We'll get to the other one when we get to cover talk.
Yes.
But we just wanted to make sure, if you did not know that already, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
The other thing is I got some fun fan merch in the mail the other day.
Yes.
I got the Harrier Tale cover collection zine. I got the hardback cover.
Let's fucking go.
I decided to treat myself.
Ho, ho, ho.
And it's got this very cool gold foil cover, and the back of it has the original stone where they all have the gathering and everything.
The Great Rock. There's a little Firestar in the center because he's got his little collar on, and it came with a Squirrel Flight sticker. Oh, Squill! Look at her.
And an extra print of. What are the chasing? What the hell is the Changing Skies?
Changing Skies.
Right?
Changing Skies is the newest, the current arc.
The newest, yes, that's the newest arc. Because the second book was announced while they were doing the zine. It wasn't printed in the zine, but somebody did do a cover for the second book as a print.
I think I saw that on Blue Sky yesterday. It's so cool.
It's really neat. I don't know anything about what this book could be about, but this is a really cool cover.
I know that people on the internet are talking a lot about a cat named Moonpaw, and that's about all I know. And I know also that Karina from the YouTube channel Drawfee has a Gatomon like clone character from childhood also named Moonpaw, and that's what I think of every time.
Incredible. The inside cover is this gorgeous little assortment of characters.
I saw that on Tumblr today when I was looking through. I went in the Darktail tag just to like look at people's Darktail designs for a few minutes.
Dude, the Darktail tag rules.
Darktail tag is good. I'm scrolling through the link that you put in the document and looking at all of these covers, and they're so good.
And we will link this in the show notes. Harrier Tale has been reblogging on their Tumblr when people post their pieces that they did. But yeah, it is truly an incredible amount of work. Every book is represented. Even the mangas, even the like field guides, they all have just these
all of the novellas.
New fan-made covers. Yes, every novella has its own cover, which I really like.
And they're all so unique and different from each other.
Yeah.
The Goose Feathers Curse one fucking
I was literally just about to mention the Goose Feathers Curse one. Oh, the Goose Feathers Curse one is so cool. There's like an outline of a skull that has maple shades like coloring on it, like overlapping his face.
It's crazy. It's so good. The Eclipse one is really good.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast where I say, look at this piece of art. It's really good. You can't see it, dear listener, but believe me, it is really good.
The one for our book today, Shattered Sky, is very, very neat.
It's really good. Oh, the Sunrise one is great.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with the Sunrise one.
Obsessed with that. And the Holly Leaf story one with her, like, Holly Leaf is there and shaped like a holly leaf in between all the holly leaves. Very good. Okay, I have to close this or I'm just going to keep looking at all of them.
Yeah. No, Sunrise one is just so perfect to me.
And yeah, the Shattered Sky one and the, like, backup Shattered Sky ones, the ones that the artist decided not to use but were sort of has put up as a bonus, are also really cool.
Oh wait, I haven't seen those.
Let me get the link.
Boo. Oh shit, that's so cool.
Yeah, I really like the one the shot like through Darktail's legs.
Yeah, that's really neat.
It's great time.
They are clearly still very active, not only because they posted their piece for this zine on Tumblr, but their profile picture is the Polish
Needletail. Yeah, they are Needletail's #1 fan, and I love that for them.
I love this. Thank you, Needlepine, for being.
Thank you, Needlepine. Yeah, this zine rules. Highly recommend going and looking at the pieces. Is it still available or has it been restocked for?
Yes, I don't know if it will be when the
True, when this episode comes out, they might no longer be available. But if you're interested, you can check.
Yeah. harriertail.tumblr.com has, I believe, all of their links. Their store is on Etsy, I believe.
Yes.
And then they also have a Gumroad for the digital version that you can get if you do not want a physical version.
Very nice, very nice.
Oh, looks like they are doing a contest, actually, to win a copy.
Hell yeah.
So they are doing a contest. It closes on the 14th of July. It is creating a fan cover for your Warriors OC/stories, main arc, standalone, super edition, graphic novel, etc. Any style, traditional or digital, all art must be new. There's more rules on their Tumblr, but the prizes are: first prize is a hardback zine bundle, which comes with the print that I mentioned and the sticker, and a copy of the Ultimate Zine Guide, which is the one that I think I mentioned a while ago. I got a copy of that forever ago.
Yeah.
And then second and third prize also get a copy of the zine, hardback and paperback.
Hell yeah, fun.
Respectively.
Love that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of cool covers.
Hell yeah.
We have a Sclusy. It's not that Sclusy. You will have all probably seen it by the time this episode comes out. Perhaps if you are locked in to Warrior Cat's cover knowledge, but we have our first look at the Polish version of this book's cover, of Shattered Sky's cover, which if you remember
and it's dope.
And it's so good, which if you remember from last episode, I had mentioned that they are currently releasing the Polish versions of this arc, and so the covers are still currently coming out. We have this incredible picture of Victoria Holmes herself. I guess she went to some sort of Polish literary convention, and she like walked out to this talk holding a big, she's not sandwich boarded, but it has the feeling of her wearing a sandwich board with the cover on it. It's amazing. It is still sort of that matte black background style of these, and it has Darktail and One Star fighting, and water is sort of flowing around them and flowing up out of Darktail in this very cool, almost Art Nouveau-ish kind of graphic wave. And there's also one of the 5-pointed leaves like right behind Darktail. It's great. It's sick. What a good cover.
Yeah, it's such a good cover. I really
I'm so excited to see all of the Polish covers for this arc. I love the style that they're going for with them. I think they're so good.
It is so much fun. I did also get more Warriors mail.
Oh, shit.
Because I kickstarted a little plushie campaign for a J Feather plush.
J Feather, that's right.
So I have a little J Feather plushie, and also it came with this cute little keychain of him and the stick.
He's got the stick. Oh my God.
That's just fun.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, let's talk about these other covers too.
Yeah,
they're also pretty nice.
Got some other covers for today. One is the Owen Richardson cover, the English cover. This is, I think, one of my favorite Owen Richardson covers. We are both on record saying that a lot of them don't do it for us. I think that this is one of the better ones, and I think that the reason is it is not just a like facing left or right close-up bust of a single cat. It actually has some visual interest going on. It is Needletail and Darktail. Darktail is kind of looking down at Needletail, who has a grimace or sort of like a scowl on. It's well lit, and there are some plants in the front, which I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure that it's a poppy plant, which is thematic for what happens. What happens in this book concerning poppy seeds. I really like the yellow and green palette. I think that works really well. And this one also looks good in black and white. Like I have seen it on my e-reader screen in black and white and thought that the balance and everything was really nice. Would. So yeah, it's a pretty good looking one. And then the other two that I have to talk about are the traditional Chinese and simplified Chinese covers. Starting with the traditional one, we got a twig paw. It's nice to see twig paw representation.
Yeah.
She's looking extremely Lion King, as she is backlit by the sun as the sun sets, and there is red in the sky, signifying the blood trail, which is a thing that is mentioned like twice in this book and is supposed to sound really cool and significant to the finding of SkyClan, and in the end it doesn't. It feels a little bit anticlimactic.
Yeah,
but I love to see Twigpaw.
She's cute.
And then that's the traditional Chinese cover, and the simplified Chinese cover. I have written
this one's so cool.
I have written here. Yeah, fight. It's so cool.
I love the like matting on the fur.
Yes, from it being wet, the like, texture.
They're fighting in the water, so like all of the fur is like matted together from them being soaking wet.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. Yeah, it's Darktail and One Star fighting. They're fighting in the lake. There's spray all around them. And like Jill said, there is this incredible texturing of the fur on Darktail especially that just makes him he looks sopping. Like it really captures this moment and speaks a lot to the theme of water that runs through this whole book.
Yes. Oh man, I can't wait to talk about water because I'm also I've been rereading Witch Hat Atelier at the same time as reading this. And like, there's also some significant water imagery there that's like different than it's. We'll get to it, but I have a lot to say.
All right. The other thing I love about this is I like this interpretation of Darktail a lot. I see a lot of fan artists do this kind of thing where Darktail has specifically is mostly white with the black tail and then also black markings, very small black markings around the eyes and spots that look like freckles. This is my favorite Darktail style guide sort of thing that I see some fan artists do. I see on this cover here. I feel like there's maybe been some other official art or art maybe that they've just posted on the official website from fans that has had this before too. Darktail is such an interesting looking cat, like a unique looking cat.
Very distinctive, which I really like. And
he has Werecats OC energy, but in the best way.
He does, yes. But I think I have to wait till we get to the discussion. But I think it's appropriate given the comparison I made earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
So excited.
Y'all ain't ready to find out what happens in this book, I'm telling you. It's crazy.
This book is crazy. Are we ready to get into it?
I'm so ready.
All right. After the hostile takeover of Shadow Clan by Darktail and his kin, the other 3 clans around the lake rally together and launch an attack to drive the rogues out. But lose the advantage when one star, shaken by something Darktail says to him, calls for WindClan's retreat and returns to insularity and refusal of aid, even after Bramblestar finally discloses the existence of SkyClan to all the cats of the lake and explains the ongoing quest to them. Alderheart continues to have visions that pull him towards the recovery of the long-lost clan, with a new wrinkle added as he realizes one of the Sky Clan cats he's dreamt of bears a striking resemblance to Twigpaw and Violetpaw. Even so, ThunderClan refuses to send out another exploratory patrol when the threat of Darktail still looms large. Twigpaw decides to take matters into her own claws and slips away to try and find them alone. Once her absence is realized, Bramblestar sends a rescue party of Dovewing, Tigerheart, and the ultimate third wheel, Molewhisker, but several days later they return with only bad news. They found Twigpaw's blood beside the Thunder Path where her mother died, and fear she's suffered the same fate, and been killed by a monster in pursuit of her lost family. Meanwhile, in the Kin's camp, Violetpaw has a front row seat to the rapid and frightening deterioration of any kind facade hiding the paranoid and violent tendencies of Darktail and his rogues. Rain, the second in command, attempts to smother Darktail as he recovers from battle wounds, but fails and is immediately executed for his insubordination. Former Shadow Clan cats who attempt to defect from the kin or challenge Darktail begin disappearing under mysterious circumstances. Kitty pets are invited to visit camp for a day, and then coerced into, and this is not an exaggeration, a blood pact, and forced to pledge loyalty or else. The kin then launch an attack on RiverClan's camp, which leads to a second clan's displacement. Misty Star and the survivors are forced to shelter with ThunderClan. Darktail takes the wounded as hostages and denies them medical care and food. Later, he throws Needletail into the holding cell too, as punishment for her aiding Alderheart and Mothwing behind his back. With nowhere else to turn and Needletail in distress, a desperate Violetpaw seeks out Alderheart for help and becomes a double agent for ThunderClan within Darktail's ranks. While she manages a few successful extraction missions, she's found out before she can successfully aid in the prisoner rescue, and Darktail drags both her and Needletail to the lakeshore for punishment. He holds Needletail under the water. When she's on the verge of drowning, he offers her an out. She can live if she kills Violetpaw herself. Needletail bluffs her way into an advantageous position, then turns on the kin, giving Violetpaw an opportunity to run. The last thing the apprentice sees as she flees is her first and best friend going down swinging. At least Needletail's sacrifice was a meaningful one. It left security poor enough that the prisoners, with the help of a patrol from ThunderClan and the refugees, were able to escape after all. When at last they reconvene in ThunderClan's camp, including Violet Paw, they have a surprise waiting for them. Twigpaw didn't die. She is back, and she has SkyClan with her. At this point, StarClan makes things moderately more clear. Darktail can only be defeated if what remains of all 5 clans band together, and that means bringing WindClan back on side. A patrol is sent only to find the Moorcats' camp being attacked by the kin. They chase them off, but this is the final straw for One Star, who finally airs out all his dirty laundry for everyone to see. Darktail is his son, mothered by a kitty pet from a two-leg place near the WindClan camp in the Old Forest territories. One Star, who was One Whisker at the time, refused to bring his secret mate or their child to live with him in WindClan, and that bred a resentment that has simmered in his discarded son for moons and moons, bubbling over in his bid for targeted destruction of the clans and all they stand for. Fear of death and his place in the afterlife if he were to kill his own son drove One Star to try and hide from all this, but he is at last ready to face his mistakes once and for all. The clan cats plan an attack that utilizes each group's unique skill sets and corner the kin on the lakeshore, where One Star confronts Darktail one-on-one. Their skirmish drives them into the shallows, then deep water. They disappear beneath the waves, and neither of them surface again. And so, against all odds, the threat of Darktail and the kin is squared away. And the next big question on everyone's mind is, what do we do about SkyClan? Twigpaw and Violet Paw have been reunited with their long-lost father Hawkwing, and he voices his desire for them both to live with him in his clan once their new territory is established. Unsure of their future, the two sisters wonder how their lives are about to change.
Just absolute bonkers amount of stuff.
Yeah, I can't believe how much happens in this book. I was looking back over my sort of beat by beat notes that I take. I try and take like a 1-sentence note every time there is a significant story beat within the book so that I can summarize. I can write my summaries quicker when my time for writing the summaries comes along. There were so many fucking bullet points for this one, guys. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah. According to this Reddit thread, if we don't count Dark Forest kills, Darktail has killed the most cats.
I am not surprised.
Warriors.
I'm not surprised by that.
I feel like this book might be the one with the most deaths.
There's a lot. You want me to read out the list that I made?
Let's give a
Yeah. So just going by what I could remember off the top of my head and piece together from the cliff notes and sort of paging through the book, the cats that die in this book are Echo Song, Perchwing, Rain, Birchbark, Lion Eye, Mist Cloud, which are implied but like heavily implied and spoiler alert, later confirmed, die. Purdy, Dawnpelt, Max, Foxnose, Heronwing, Petalfur, Pinenose, Shadepelt, Needletail, One Star, Darktail. That's 17, and that's not even counting any unnamed cats or like members of the kin that probably died during the fights.
Yeah.
That's so many.
That's so many. That's like
so many. It's got to be more than what happened in the
easily.
That's more
than
Dark Forest, the Great Battle.
For sure. 100%.
And this is only the fucking midway point of the arc, dog.
Yeah, this is absolute, like, nonsense. Births and... Oh, they don't have a... Man.
They don't have it. I
was looking on the Warriors Wiki to see if they had a list of deaths in the kin, but... Yeah, that shit's wild.
It's crazy. It's
minimum,
crazy.
like, 17.
Yeah. Minimum 17 cats die in this book.
Yeah. And somehow, like, it's all very, like, I feel like all of the deaths are like, given, even if it's not, like, a full scene, like, it's not for most of it, it's not just, oh, we lost, like, X number of cats. Like, they are specifically named.
And they all feel... I don't think there was a death in this book that I felt wasn't doing something specific to further the story forward.
Agreed.
Which is not often the case in these books. There's a lot of times where I'll be like, that felt like an arbitrary or unnecessary or sort of shoehorned in death.
I mean, shit, not just in these books, but in like a lot of fiction in
absolutely.
General.
Yeah, something that we talk about on the podcast, but is rampant in fiction.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like a thing that, well, I don't know. I've never seen it. I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I feel like this is the thing that a lot of people talk about with, like, Game of Thrones did a particular thing to prestige television when it came to character death.
See, the thing is, I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I read the books. Mm-hmm. But, like, my husband's currently rereading the books right now. And, like, he'll message me while he's reading. And, like, the deaths are pretty impactful in that series, I would argue. For the most part.
Yeah, I feel like people feel differently about it in the books than in the show. But I truly don't... all of this is just hearsay that I have collected over the course of being online in the last decade. But...
tragic, really.
Even the like mysterious disappearance or like the supposed the way that Darktail supposedly lets some cats leave and then we find out later that they have almost certainly actually been killed when they asked to leave is and it's all
the whole
serving Darktail's character so well.
It's so good. The whole Dawn Pelt thing, like, that was absolutely wild.
It, like, gave me anxiety to read.
Yeah. Oh, my God. It's such a, like, harrowing scene.
Especially because we're only seeing it from Violet Paw's point of view, right? Like, we're only hearing about it from this third-party perspective. And like Violet Paw can tell that something's off, but she also keeps telling herself that it's probably nothing, right?
Right. It's so much. Oh man. All right. Let's just, first of all, let me say this is one of my top warrior books now. Like, this is incredible.
It's a really, really genuinely, overall thoughts. We forgot.
Overall thoughts. Banger.
Overall thoughts.
Certified.
Yeah.
Certified banger alert. I was reading it this morning. Rain dies in like chapter 3. It's insane that this like wild ass death scene happens 3 chapters into the book.
I know. That scene is crazy, dude. That scene's crazy.
I was like, there's no way he killed him. And then he didn't kill him. And then, oh my God, I lost my mind. Like, and it's been especially fun because, like, as I mentioned, like, I never read this. I did not know anything about, like, what Darktail did. I knew, like, he existed. I had seen his name before. But, like, every fucked up thing that Darktail does, I'm just like, why the fuck did nobody tell me this? I was like, who the fuck kept this from me? Because goddamn.
I know. He is so your kind of villain.
He is. It's really upsetting how, like, target I am with with Darktail. He's such a fun villain. God damn it.
This is really like some of the best villain work that they've done in the series, if not the best villain work that we've seen to date.
I 100% agree. And I messaged Scout this earlier. And my message was, let's see. First was, this book is brutal. Darktail is an excellent villain. Scourge wishes he were him. Which,
Scourge could never!
Like, this is Scourge turned up to 11, which I think is just really fascinating because if you think about, like, the idea of the readers growing alongside the books, it's like, yeah, Scourge killing Tigerstar is, like, one of the things that has, like, been etched into my brain permanently and, like, shaped me as a child. And this is just that amped up to 11.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. And then this is also what I was talking about with the covers is, like, he's got such a unique design, which is also, like, very Scourge, where it's like, you know, he's got his signature look.
Yes. Yeah, for Scourge, it was the collar and, like, the one white paw.
And the claws.
And the claws. For Darktail, it's the eyeliner.
Cool ass. The eyeliner.
and the signature dark tail.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's so, God, he's such a fascinating villain. Because you don't have sympathy for him.
No.
He's just a bitch.
Even hearing the backstory, it's like, the things that you are doing are not equal to what has been done to you, my guy.
Literally. And that's, I think, one of the reasons I like him as a villain so much is, like, not to excuse Tigerstar or Scourge or Mapleshade or Hawkfrost's actions, but, like, there's all kind of, like, there is a clear progression of, like, they had a very clear reason because it was very directly affecting them, whereas Darktail is over here like, my dad was a deadbeat and didn't let me come live with him after my mom died, so I'm gonna kill everyone.
Yeah.
Like, indiscriminately. It would be one thing if he just went after WindClan. But no. He was like, nah, fuck everybody.
Every single one. Every
single one of you. I'll kill everyone. And it's like, damn, dude, that's a little bit of an overreaction.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Wow.
There's just so many scenes in this book of, like, not to sound like a Call of Duty gamer, there's so many scenes of, like, really cool violence in this book. Like, I'm sorry, but every fight scene fucking rules.
Yeah, it really is. It's some of the best fight stuff.
Also, like, rip to Rain for having two of the most brutal scenes with Darktail.
Oh my god.
First, his eyes get slashed.
His eye just gets removed.
Then his throat gets yoinked.
In both of those times, in front of a child.
In front of a child!
Violet Paw has seen so many acts of horrendous violence done directly before her eyes, and she is, like, 11 months old.
Like, I'm sure that they're bound to get their warrior names, like, imminently in the next book, because they are definitely, like, getting to that age. But, like, that's still a child.
Yeah, she's just a child. They can't be more than a year old.
Yeah, I think a year is probably correct.
It's crazy. So yeah, Cherith Baldry wrote this one. And I feel like that's really interesting to me because I feel like a lot of Cherith Baldry stuff, a Cherith Baldry book tends to be more the melodrama, not in the sense of like something's really melodramatic, but in the sense of like the actual like what a melodrama is, a lot more like interpersonal stuff, a lot more of the family drama. But Darkest Hour, right?
Sorry, I'm pretty sure Darkest Hour.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking up to see how old the girls are. Because there is a timeline on the wiki.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like they were born Greenleaf year 10, and this book takes place New Leaf year 11. So yeah, just about a year old.
Yeah. Yeah. So Cherith Baldry, I tend to think of her more for the interpersonal stuff versus the high octane battle books, but she was also the one that wrote Tiger Star's death. So she can do the damn thing.
She knows how to write a death scene. Who wrote Hawkfrost's death?
You know what? Let me double check that. Oh,
was that also a Cherith joint?
I'm gonna look and see if it's also a Cherith joint. What the fuck? What was the name of that book? What was the last book of the second arc?
Sunrise.
Thank you.
Sunset? Sunrise?
Sunset.
Too many goddamn books in this series.
Sunset.
Also, half of them have shadows in the name, and that's driving me bonkers.
Also, Cherith Baldry.
All right.
We have the through
Respect.
line.
Respect on your name, Cherith, because you can write a fucking death scene.
You know how to kill a cat, Cherith Baldry.
Hell yeah. My queen. Every single one of your death scenes has just been absolutely brutal. Thank you.
Thank you, Cherith. But going back to the beginning of this book.
Yes.
Another thing that I think is actually really impressive about the pacing of this book is how often we have things happen where we don't see the planning stage first. I was going to talk about that with the heist. Yes, we begin these actions, and then sometimes we have sort of flashback backfilling, but there are so many moments where we are just like in media res, in the thing, the plan is being executed, and then we find out like what the plan is. And that is something that I love in a story, and it's something that has not really been utilized that often in Warrior Cats up to this point.
And it's so goddamn refreshing.
It makes the book feel totally different and really, really good to read.
It makes this book feel like there is not like unnecessary fluff.
Mm-hmm.
This book is all action all the time. Like there is not a single moment of like pause.
Mm-hmm.
Pause. Anyway.
And we start with this scene of the clans attacking Darktail. We get the great moment. It's a great moment when Darktail whispers something to One Star and One Star just fucking bounces.
I know. And everyone's like, hey, what the fuck was that?
What do you mean? But the moment that really gets me is when the sisters see each other, they meet each other in battle, Twigpaw and Violetpaw, and for all intents and purposes, they should be fighting each other, and Needletail and Rain come out to encourage Violetpaw to fight Twigpaw, but before that, we get this moment of Twigpaw whispering, I miss you. And just like the vision in my head of these two young sisters and one of them whispering, I miss you in the middle of like a raging battlefield goes so hard.
It's agonizing. The amount of like emotional work done specifically for Violetpaw, I think. God. Like she gets the most like emotional like turmoil and growth, but like the amount of just absolute turmoil in this book is off the charts.
Yeah.
Let me see. What were some things that I had to say? I mean, we do get a little bit of it with Twigpaw, specifically, as I want to note in the moment where Ivy Pool is like says that she doesn't think they should go on the journey to try and find Twigpaw's father. At the moment, Twigpaw is like first Violetpaw, then Ivypool, then Lilyheart. Now I know for certain I can't expect any cat to be on my side. And just seeing these two poor sisters like feel like they have absolutely no one, it just hurts.
Nobody in the world. It's just so sad. I love that moment specifically because it is such a good little bit of characterization and texture and complication that Ivypool is clearly speaking out against this only because she sees that Dovewing and Tigerheart are both volunteering and she doesn't want them to be going off together on some adventure. And she speaks out for this reason that is completely unrelated to Twigpaw at all. But Twigpaw takes it so deeply to heart of like Ivypool not caring about her specifically. And that little bit of like miscommunication or difference in goals between these two characters that aren't expressed between the two characters really struck me and stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably a good moment to talk about the Dovewing bonus chapters, if we want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Oh, Lord, help me.
I'm going to read what I wrote up here, which is Bumblestripe, more like Fumblestripe, with how he keeps fumbling his baddie Dovewing. Am I right, fellas?
I need him to shut the fuck up forever.
I need him to stop.
I cannot believe the shit that he was saying.
It's crazy.
He's giving ultimate nice guy energy.
Exactly, yes.
In these bonus chapters, at least. He cannot take their breakup. Like, he cannot handle the fact that they broke up. And he kind of keeps trying to date Dovewing and keeps trying to, like, invite her out and keeps asking if they can be mates again. Like, they were mates and they broke up. And she's like, I want to let him down easy, but, like, also, this boy won't take no for an answer.
And he won't stop, he won't stop. He simply won't stop. He won't stop hanging around her. He won't stop inviting her out to do things. He won't stop talking to her. It really is like Bumblestripe has always had this particular energy of like that he has the makings of a nice guy, you know, TM, platonic, or not platonic ideal, but like the cultural imaginary of this, of like a specific kind of guy that just like, you know, nice guys finish last. But here it is totally, he's mask off.
Yeah. He literally, like, they're at Purdy's funeral. At Purdy's funeral, and he, like, sidles up to Dovewing, and he's like, don't you think it would be, like, good for there to be more kids in the clan? We should be mates again.
You would make such a good mom.
And she's like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, I think you'd make an incredible mom, and like something that would really help like lift the spirits of the clan is if there's a new litter comes around at some point. And I'm like, are we for real right now? Are we doing this? Are you seriously saying this at this moment right now?
In front of Grandpa's corpse?
You're in front of Peepaw?
I cannot stand him.
Yeah, it's bad.
The chapters outside of that weren't groundbreaking or anything. These felt way more like bonus chapters than the Needletail ones.
Definitely.
Like, they didn't feel like they were adding an exceptional amount. It was more just adding a little bit more backstory. I was delighted to see Dovewing again. I miss her. She's here. She's here always, but I do miss her.
Yeah.
A really nice, like genuinely nice little scene with her and Tigerheart too.
Yeah.
The contrast of him talking to her about life and Bumblestripe talking to her about life is so drastic. He also had a very millennial moment where he was like, I guess it is, you know, we're the age now when we're supposed to be having kids.
Literally, that was so funny to me. I was like, okay, Tigerheart. Like, I did take it very much as like him kind of like trying to subtly hint that he's still into Dovewing, but it was also very funny of like, yeah, I guess, you know, we've been warriors for a while. It's about that time.
People start expecting it of you. I got it. It felt to me a lot more like a commiseration of like, I mean, you know, our parents always want us to be having kids. But it was so funny. It was.
When am I gonna get my grandkids?
Rowan Star to Tigerheart.
Oh yeah. There are some moments in this book that just are like offhand comments from characters that I'm just like, they sort of don't match the tone of like such a dark and brutal book. Specifically, I'm thinking about when One Star is monologuing about his tragic backstory with Darktail. And the fucking everybody has something to say about that.
It is really
like, as he is talking, everybody is like making comments. His mate is like our clan leader going off to make friends with kitty pets. And like Squirrel Flight rolling her eyes when he's talking about how pretty Darktail's mom was.
Rolling her eyes fucking killed me.
Rowan Star exchanged a glance with Misty Star. You can say that again, he muttered. What was this mouse brain thinking? Obviously he wasn't thinking, Misty Star responded tartly. Like, they are roasting this man alive.
Get his ass. It's really funny. How did you feel about, I mean, I know that you had the, you knew coming into the, despite not reading this arc before, you knew coming into this, the big reveal of Darktail being One Star's son. How did you feel about the specifics of it and the rollout of it here?
I mean, like I mentioned, I think it just makes Darktail that much more of a, like, fucked up character because you're like, okay, like, I don't feel bad for One Star, to be clear. Mm-hmm. Like, he is still, like, on my shit list. Yeah. But, like, everything Darktail did feels like such an overreaction, and I think it is really fascinating when we get a character who is so trapped in their... Fuck me.
Uh-oh. Jill has had some realization.
Didn't I say at the start of this arc that Darktail is Griffith?
Yeah,
I think I did. Yeah, I fucking did, didn't I?
I was wondering if that was going to come back today. Jill has taken off their headphones. They have their head in their hands.
Over here talking about how, you know, I think it's fascinating when a character is so overly consumed by their misguided rage and their ideals that they're willing to tear everything down for the sake of just one thing. And this bitch is fucking Griffith of Warrior Cats.
We did it!
Fucking damn it!
We did it!
Oh.
We got there.
We got him. Oh. We got him, gamers.
Somebody pour Gatorade on Conrad. We got him. Wow. I love that your prediction was correct. I'm so happy.
I'm so, and this is fucking, of course, this is why I like him so much, is I'm just like, wow, you're psychotic. I love you so much. Oh, God. But yeah, I thought it was like, I do think that the, like, One Star monologue was kind of, it felt like, okay, this is not the time for you to, like, rehash your entire life story, but, like, I get why they had to do it like that.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of his one moment to do it, I guess.
Yeah, but, like, I definitely think that, like, this reveal, or, like, this being the connection between the two, I think is really good.
Yeah. I
just think it is such a fun, like... And again, to like bring it back to Scourge, like, we know posthumously that Scourge and Firestar are related. Mm-hmm. But we didn't know that when Scourge was like a threat.
Right.
And so there wasn't really anything to do with that. Mm-hmm. And so I really think, like, and, you know, like with Hawkfrost and the whole Bramble Star and Tiger Star stuff, like, I do think a lot of villain characters shine best when they have that strong familial connection. Mm-hmm. And I think it being a character that, like, we used to know decently well and now don't really know at all, being the one to have that connection, like, makes it a space to play around with a lot and makes it so it doesn't feel like an out of nowhere sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, the idea of, because One Star and Firestar were, like, good friends when they were younger.
Yeah.
And Firestar is just this, like, incredible warrior, and, like, he rises through the ranks so quickly, and he's, like, you know, the hero of prophecy and all that. Like, there's no way that One Star didn't kind of compare himself to Firestar, especially with the fact that Tall Star had that whole, like,
Tall Star's boyfriend
favor towards Firestar because he looks like his boyfriend. Yeah. So, like, of course One Star is going to feel jealous of Firestar and go off to the two-leg place and brag about how cool of a warrior he is, because he knows that he's not as cool as, like, the other guy that he's friends with. Oh. And he wants to feel special. So, like, of course he's going to do that. And then he sees a pretty girl and he's in too deep and he's like, yep, this is the line now.
Oh, that's such a good line to draw that I hadn't even put together in my head. Oh, Wow, that makes me like it way better.
I do think it works really well when you think about the history that One Star had with the clan, like his clan, his leader, and Fire Clan specifically. I liked it. I was a fan of it. I just think it was really fun.
Yeah, that is such a good point and adds a whole layer of texture that I hadn't even put together in my head. That's great. Damn, man. One Whisker, dude.
Yeah. I'm very, very interested in reading his book and finding out, like, what the fuck is going to be in that book.
I'm so interested to see what they're going to do with that book. Which
I will say, I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I changed my mind about One Star after his book. I am predicting I will not change my mind.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to change my mind on him. I think I've changed my mind over the course of like us reading the books, in that I used to be way more just like genuinely disappointed in the direction that they took him. And now I have kind of come around the other side where I'm like, okay, this is actually a really interesting, weird thing that they've done with him, that I do think that he is not likable, but is very compelling as a character.
I think in Vision of Shadows, his character arc makes the most sense.
Yes.
Like, I still think he had no reason to be acting the way he did in Omen of the Stars and Crowfeather's Trial.
Yeah.
Like, he really... Again. Yeah, which pot kettle in that one.
Yeah. Now we can really go back for a moment to the old backseat dad that One Star was doing in that book. One Star, like, really?
The audacity of him. Like, at least Crowfeather is like trying.
You're trying to be a dad to Crowfeather's kid. You threw your kid out. You threw him out.
In the garbage. In the rain. You tossed that boy out into the wild with no one.
You just threw him away. Unbelievable. Out of pocket.
Yeah, absolutely bonkers stuff to be like shaming Crowfeather for being a deadbeat dad when he is the most deadbeat of dads.
Never has a dad been more deadbeat.
Oh, man.
But it's in character. I think that's very in character for him, and I do love that.
Oh, absolutely. I love the fact that, like, yeah, he's such a fucking hypocrite. It's great. Like, it really just adds that depth to him. There's a lot of kitty pet moments in this book, actually.
Yeah, a lot of kitty pet moments. We had I wanted to shout out, we had a Minty mention. We had a mention of Minty from Bramblestar's Storm. She unwittingly...
We have a little storm cloud moment.
We had a storm cloud moment. He has anxiety.
My boy has panic attacks.
Has a panic disorder.
I love him.
Save him.
He's just like me for real.
I love him so much. It's such a real moment because he's even like, I don't even really know what is wrong, so I feel like I shouldn't even be at the doctor.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, me.
And then we have the kin affiliated kitty pets.
Hell yeah. I was so excited.
Cat named Zelda mentioned.
There's a cat named Zelda. And I just like kept marking things in the book where I was like, oh my god, my Zelda does that.
I do that.
This one was my favorite because our Zelda has been a particularly crafty little cat when it comes to scraps of food. Zelda gave an excited little bounce. Oh, I love feasts. When I lived with my housefolk, they had feasts sometimes with scraps of all different kinds of food. They played a game with me. They'd put my feast into the garbage can, and I had to hunt for it. It was fun. And I'm like, that's my fucking cat right there.
It's really good. Zelda.
The number of times that I have heard slight tearing of plastic in the kitchen and have to get up out of bed and see my damn cat digging in the trash.
Oh my god. I love her so much.
It was so good. Yeah, so I was just like, as we were reading it, I was like, oh my god, my Zelda does that. And then I was also very nervous. I was like, if this fucking cat dies,
luckily,
I'm not going to be able to do anything the rest of the day.
Luckily, Zelda the cat is not safe. The kitty pet that dies. We have the death of Poor Max. Pour one out for
Poor
Max. Who is like literally made
Max.
a meat shield in that fight, which is so
that was
fucked up. I really loved that we had these two kitty pets. One was named Zelda and the other was named Loki. It felt so millennial in a way that these books have never felt millennial before.
Yeah, it was, I know Cherith Baldrew wrote this book, but some of it I was like, which, like,
additional
freshly 25-year-old wrote this book?
Well, yeah, there's those moments. Between that and between
Did I write this book in my sleep? Like, was I part of this?
Oh. Yeah, I feel like there have to be some younger faces on like the auxiliary writing team that now have their fingers in the documents occasionally with little things like that. Between this and the and in the bonus chapter, Tigerheart saying the thing about having kids. Everybody expects us to have kids. Yeah. We're that age.
Yeah, it was very like, oh, I see what's going on here. Man, what a time. What else? Oh, and of course, shout out to Purdy.
Shout out to Purdy.
One of the realest kitty pets out there.
Oh.
King.
I love that he goes out still encouraging Alderheart. Like, his last act on this earth is to tell Alderheart that he's doing his best and a good job.
I was so sad about Purdy.
Me too.
Because, like, I could see it coming. He's like, I'm not feeling so great. I'm like, fuck, not Purdy. You can't take him from us right now.
Not like this. I know.
And the fact that Alderheart is like still trying to save him while he's like already dead. And I'm like, oh, he's just a boy.
Alderheart is trying so hard. He has that quote, that comment that's like, will I ever get used to this? Will it ever be easier to see a cat die? Ugh. Poor guy. My poor stressed out little doctor.
Yeah.
I know Purdy's old as balls. I understand that he is far and away the oldest
I'm like
cat,
shocked that he's still alive, but
still, I miss him. Fly high, Purdy.
Fly high, King.
My next note is about the blood oath.
Yeah, let's talk about the blood oath.
They put a blood oath in the book. I don't know that I have much more to say about that, but they put a fucking blood oath in there. It is. It's cool. Those poor kitty pets. Darktail makes the kitty pets make a blood oath, and they're
like, what?
They do not know what they've gotten themselves into. Oh, I'm also going to shout out Beetle Whisker, who is back from the dead.
I love when cats just reappear.
Remember when, I think it was Thistleclaw? Remember when Thistleclaw tore his throat out last arc? That was wild. Well, he's fine now.
Yeah, that was crazy. He's okay.
He's fine. He's okay. He's got an apprentice.
Yeah.
He's doing great. I love that for him.
I liked that Reed Whisker got some moments. Like, it feels like this book had a lot of, like, background character moments.
We got to actually see some RiverClan cats, which is...
Yeah, which is, like, so rare.
Yeah.
I feel like we never see RiverClan cats.
We know Mothwing and that's it. Like, that's it.
Yeah, we know Mothwing and, like, a little bit of Willowshine and Misty Star. And then that's it. Like, those are the only RiverClan cats that exist. But we get, like, quite a few of them in this book.
We do.
And it was really nice to see.
It was nice to see them. It was nice to see Reed Whisker having just a miserable time. I mean, it's not nice to see him having a miserable time.
Holdout on taking the oath.
Oh, he's just starving. He can't do it anymore. He can't hold out any longer.
It was so sad.
It's so rough. I'm also always thinking about that he is Misty Star's kit too.
Yeah.
I wish so much that we saw more of their relationship at like any point.
I agree.
I would love to see more of that and just like see more into the dynamics of that. Because they have, not only is he her kit and her deputy, he is her kit and has been her deputy since she became leader. So like they have, it is a long-standing relationship. We were talking, I think a couple.
And like she had other kits that died. So like he's the only one that survived.
Also a couple episodes ago, I think we were talking about One Star getting older. And then I was thinking about it reading this and I realized Misty Star is actually older than One Star and like older than Firestar was. She's like getting up there. Because she was, I think, a full warrior already at the time that Firepaw joined ThunderClan. So she is really, she's really getting old, you know?
Misty Star was born 3 years before Firestar, and this is year 11, so she's like 14 years old.
Yeah, she's old.
Which is old. That is old
for a warrior cat. That's ancient for a warrior
regular cat.
Yeah.
Like
that's old for a house cat. For a wild cat and for cats in
like
these books.
It's not like, you know, like Death's Door kind of old for a house cat, but that is around when cats who are that old start, like, you know, showing a little bit more of that sign of aging and like getting a little slower.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the fact that she's like 14 years old is crazy.
That's gotta be
still kicking.
Maybe the oldest.
I think so.
I mean, outside of Purdy, who like was a house cat for a long time, and so we know that he was already like when he joined the clan, he was already older than like any elder that they'd ever had or some shit. I remember they said something about that, and we were like, "Damn, how old is Purdy?"
Yeah. It's actually unknown how old he is.
Yeah, he never revealed it. He'll never tell.
I'll never tell.
I love Purdy. My next note here is just about the mundanity of how casually Pine Nose's death is displayed. Really got me after that battle with River Clan when the kin takes over River Clan. And it's just like Violet Paw looks down and Pine Nose's body is there, and she's like, oh man, listen, you weren't a very good foster mom to me, but also this sucks. And that really got to me.
Yeah. Do you think about the fact that Puddleshine's whole family is dead now?
Fuck! Oh my god, you're right. Wait, who's their dad?
Yeah.
Is their dad still alive or is their dad dead?
Spikefur. Spikefur died. Oh, maybe he's still alive. It is unclear.
Unclear. Oh yeah, look at that. Because his last living appearance is in Shattered Sky. So we don't know when he dies, but he is not mentioned again, looks like.
Yeah.
So that's rough. Oh, Puddleshine, buddy. Oh my god.
Poor boy.
What a fucking life he's had. And he's also barely a year old. Like, he's only a couple months older than Twigpaw and Violet Paw.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because he was made an apprentice early in Apprentice's Quest, right?
Yeah. It wasn't super early. I feel like he was at 5
It was still
moons,
I think it was like,
but
it was like
still, yeah. Oh, rough.
Poor boy.
You want to talk about Darktail and Violet Paw?
I really do that. I was like waiting. I am obsessed with they are narrative foils.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Because there's a scene, where is it? There's a scene specifically after Violet Paw and Needletail and Raven let Alderheart and Mothwing come and get some herbs, where Darktail is questioning her about who made the decision to let the medicine cats in to take the herbs, and he's like trying to get the information out of her, and she's trying so hard to not share that it was Needletail.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, am I in trouble? And he says, not at all. You and I have an understanding, don't we, Violet Paw? We were both kits that no one wanted. But that's not true. Shadow Clan cats were very kind to me. And then he like gets so fucking close to her and he says, I know that feeling well. When one feels unwanted, one might do anything at all to hold on to onto the cats one cares about, even lie to protect them. Isn't that so? I feel a special connection to you, but that doesn't mean I couldn't make your life very unpleasant if you go on lying to me. And it's not just you that I could punish for your lie. And like, this is way before like them actually like trying to drown Needletail. Mm-hmm. But like the way that both of these cats like are so clearly ones who were ostracized as young cats, and like do very clearly like have their ideal or their like loved ones that they care about, and like just having Darktail compare himself to Violet Paw and like her not denying that. was really interesting. And I just really think this scene is like absolutely like shows who Darktail is and just how like he is a cult leader. Like this is how he gets all of them. He's so manipulative and he's like preying on the like their vulnerabilities, and he just knows the way to say that, because after that, like he is able to kind of get Violet Paw to admit that like, yeah, it was Needletail. And it is just...
And he follows that up with, well, of course I already knew that anyways. I was testing you. This was a test. Mm-hmm. Which is just so fucked.
Yeah, it was so...
One thing that I think is really interesting about his bit of, and like shows like the way that, like you said, he manipulates and preys on specific things that are anxieties or tender spots for people, is that he makes that connection and he draws that connection and he talks about going out of your way like to protect the people that you care about. But we don't see him actually have like a genuine connection with really any of the kin. I mean, he just kills Rain. He orders cats around, but he doesn't actually have a genuine connection. He just preys on that they were both ostracized and that Violet Paw has genuine love for Needletail.
And that is exactly it. It is so, because there's even a moment, I think it's Sleek Whisker is like trying to cozy up to him, and she's like flirting with him a little bit, and he's just like, if they were like people, it would have been like some cartoonish scene of him like pushing her face out of frame. Because he's like literally does not even give a shit. And it's just like, yeah, this guy does not, he pretends he cares. He talks about like them all being the kin. They are a family. And yet like he doesn't actually harbor that sentiment.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The Sleek Whisker, the dynamic was
once again, he is Griffith from Berserk.
We got him. I find myself so fascinated by his dynamic with Sleek Whisker. Sleek Whisker just wanting so bad to be like his little lackey girlfriend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree with all of that. And he's just, what a good villain. Just what a good villain he is. He really feels, I think I said this earlier, but he is drawn in a way that is completely different from like any way that a villain has been drawn in the series so far. And it's really compelling and really, really harrowing and like stressful to read at a lot of moments.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like this book was tense.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was Needletail when I think Alderheart comes into the camp or something, and he asks Needletail if she's fine, and she's like, I'm okay. Everything's okay.
Yes. Oh, that moment is just agonizing. She says something in there about like, and if Dawn Pelt got killed, it's her own fault. You know, like she's so, she is compartmentalizing.
They are being like, this is such a what is it called? High control group? Is that what it's called?
That sounds like a phrase. That sounds correct.
Yes. High control group. It's basically a cult, but it is refers to a group, often a cult or high demand religious group, that exerts excessive control over its members' lives, demanding total loyalty and often isolating them from the outside world.
Huh. Interesting.
Specifically, there's a lot of like specific characterizations of like emotional manipulation, controlling information, like indoctrination of specific ideology, social isolation, which we can see with like throwing Needletail in with the prisoners until she can learn to be like part of the kin again.
Brutal.
But yeah, so as someone who like has, for whatever reason, watched a lot of things about cults lately, I was like, okay, this is ticking the boxes of all of these like high control groups.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a religious thing.
No, it's more cult of personality.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's...
Hey, can we also talk about how, this just popped into my head, How appropriate is that we read this book on Father's Day?
Fuck. Yeah, that's right. We're recording on Father's Day. Happy fucking Father's Day, everybody. Don't become a deadbeat dad or your child will do this.
This one has patricide.
This one does have patricide. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We're just about to where we're going to talk about some of the big scenes at the back end here. But before we get there, I do just want to say there is this moment when Twigpaw finds SkyClan and everybody in SkyClan kind of crowds around her and starts just like chattering at her, throwing a bunch of information of like, are you really from ThunderClan? We know all about Firestar. He did so much for us, him and Sandstorm, and we tell their story to our children. They're so important to us. And there's something about that moment of all of them sort of crowding around and the history of it and thinking about that so many of the cats that we're seeing there are cats that never actually met Firestar and Sandstorm, but their whole life, like their entire lives were shaped by the actions of Firestar and Sandstorm and the stuff like that. There's just something about SkyClan that really gets me sometimes.
Oh, 100%.
Especially with all that they've been through.
That moment was just so... They're like, we still talk about them like we're, like we never met them, but all of our... We always tell their stories and stuff like that. And they're like, oh my gosh, is he really dead? And she's like, I never knew the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lovely little moment because, man, as much shit as I've given Firestar before for being like the
specialist little boy,
face of the series, and like the specialist little boy, like I think him being the specialist little boy in SkyClan is my exception.
Yeah, it's good. That was such a nice moment of like uplift and brightness. Before we got just like plunged back down into the depths of despair. Yeah.
Like, whew.
My next note is about the drowning scene. Should we talk about the drowning scene?
We gotta talk about the drowning scene. Scout posted some fucking sick ass art of this scene, and I saw it before reading the book, and I was like, hey, Scout, what the fuck goes on in this book?
Yeah, and I said, Jill, you don't even know! You don't even know!
Scene is the absolute wildest. Like, this is maybe one of the wildest things that has been put to print in a Warriors book.
Yeah.
I truly am like, this is a children's book? I don't think so.
I know. It's like, we are, we generally, I like to give children the benefit of the doubt. I think that they can handle a lot more than a lot of parents give them credit for. I think that, introducing your children to mature things
100%.
At an early,
like shit, I'm still going to recommend kids read.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just simply astounded.
Yeah, but like this is one of those things where even us, the children's book sickos are like, this is sicko behavior that they put this in the book.
Yeah, I was on call as I was reading this, as I usually am. And I'm reading this and I just say, oh my God, they're drowning her best friend in front of her to get information out of her as like punishment for her betraying them. And Eric and Julia both said, this is a children's book. What in the hell is going on in these cat books?
It's crazy.
Like, this just shows the kind of stuff you can get away with by setting it as little animals.
Yeah, when it's like, xenofiction, baby.
This is fucking Watership Down levels of...
It's just the way
brutality.
That it's drawn out. The way that they put her back under the water 3 times.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah.
And they're like claws digging into Violet Paw's shoulders to hold her back.
And make her keep her there, make her watch. Not just like she can't go help, but she also can't run away.
Exactly. It is agonizing.
And it is really, really well written.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really well written, but oh my God.
Just, yeah. I mean, I reread this scene and like that is the night that I reread this scene is when I was like, I gotta fucking draw this. Like, this is making me insane. I have to draw it. So we'll make sure to put a link to that in the show notes too. But yeah,
I'll re-skeet or whatever the fuck it's called on Blue Sky.
But it's just dark.
It is an intense scene.
It's so intense.
And the entire time, Violet Paw is just like, no, I did it. Like, you don't have to torture her anymore. And Darktail specifically says, like, well, it's not going to be effective if I kill you because I'm punishing you. So we have to kill her instead because you're clearly willing to give up your life in order to save her. So this is going to be a worse punishment for you than if I just killed you outright. And I'm like, dude, that is dark-sided.
It's so dark-sided. It's truly...
And that's like, it's shit like that makes Darktail, like, he immediately shot up to one of my favorite villains. I'm like, yeah, this dude is fucked up.
Yeah, this is a totally different level of, like, writing of evil in this series. Because I think it's because there's something so personalized about the violence, right?
Yes.
A lot of times we get villains in the Warrior Cats books where it is just more general. This cat is doing horrendous violence. A lot of times it is horrendous violence, but there is something about the calculation and the purposeful nature of it here. I think the closest we've gotten is probably the Hawkfrost scene with Firestar in the Foxtrap. But there is something about the detail with which it is rendered here and the sort of care that is taken to make it as just devastating as possible for Violet Paw that really drives home that this is like a different kind of villain writing that I think is really, really interesting to see.
I agree. Well, and I think that's like drawing the comparison to the Hawkfrost Firestar scene, like Hawkfrost's death, while being an incredibly impactful death scene, is impactful because of how like sudden and unexpected the way that he dies is.
Yes.
Whereas this is like, it is drawn out because it is meant to be torture for the both of them.
Yes, totally.
Woof. Man, what a scene, guys.
Yeah,
if you can handle it, like, highly recommend reading the scene. It is incredible. It devastating, but very well written. Whew. I have one more light moment before we talk about the finale.
Sure.
There was just one quick little throwaway line that I really found entertaining when we finally go back, because they give us a little psych out with Twigpaw, making us think that she's dead, and then like not having a chapter for her for like 10 whole chapters.
Yes, that was crazy.
And then when we see her again, she's like being taken care of by some two legs who found her on the road. There's a moment where she mentions that she went to a two leg for some food, and they gave her a bowl of milk, and it says Twigpaw had lapped it up. It tasted good, but made her feel sick for the rest of the day. And I'm like, finally, somebody is like, hey, you know what? Cats aren't actually really supposed to drink milk.
Yeah, I thought that was such a nice little note that they really paid attention to, like, oh yeah, people tend to give cats like saucers of milk, but it's actually not good for them, really. Or, you know, it's not like going to kill them or anything, but they give them tummy aches.
It just gives them a tummy ache. Yeah.
Cats are also
so I thought that was so funny, because I was like, oh my God, somebody finally was like, hey, by the way, this is not... People think this is what you're supposed to do. You should not actually be doing this.
Right. Yeah. I thought that was a great little... I noticed that and thought that was a great little bit too. I like that like Twigpaw was just was at the hospital for a week. I think that was a fun little sort of aside.
Yeah.
And it was nice because then we didn't have a whole... Again, we didn't really have to see the journey to find SkyClan. We saw a few little vignettes. We saw her, you know, make it to them, but we didn't have to go on the whole journey.
We didn't have to go on a whole book-long journey of her trying to find... And we didn't even, like, the Dovewing, Tigerheart, Mole Whisker squad. Like,
we didn't see anything of them.
See any of their stuff. And I just think, like, yes, it is important to show things happening. But, and this is something you and I were talking about with Hunter x Hunter the other day, because Eric and I have been watching Hunter x Hunter, And I've also been reading the Naruto manga, and kind of comparing these two works and just noting the difference in like Kishimoto in the Naruto manga, like training scenes and fights are incredibly detailed and drawn out for like every single fight. And it's really well done, but it is also like, oh my gosh, this fight is taking forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then meanwhile, Eric and I are watching this episode of Hunter x Hunter, and they like skip the entire 3-week training montage. Like, we don't even have a montage. They're just like, all right, it's been 3 weeks of training and we're ready to face this guy. And then we get like a montage of them taking on like the smaller guys. And then the episode is just about the boss. And it's like, yeah, the other guys weren't important to the story. It is important to know that they were defeated because like that's the logical reason. But it is not adding to the narrative to like just show them beating these other people.
Right, to make you see the repetition beat by beat. Mm-hmm. Because it is something that's like, you know, it's kind of like, ooh, it's established. We've seen them train before. Yes. We know what training looks like. We can backfill it in our heads. We don't have to see every step of it. And this is what stuff like this feels like in this book is when they have those sort of cuts to an execution of a plan instead of walking us through the plan beforehand, or like this with Twigpaw when she goes on the quest, she finds SkyClan, but we don't have to see a lot of the nitty gritty of how she finds them. And
we barely see the journey back. We just see moments of her being like, I don't know where I am. But hopefully I'm going the right way.
Mm-hmm. And all of that is because we have the context through the series as a whole that we know what happens on those. We don't need to hear it again, kind of a thing. And they trust you as the viewer to be able to.
Which is such a difference from some of the previous arcs where they're like, oh, we're going to visit the tribe. Let's take an entire book to describe how harrowing the journey to the mountains is.
Mm-hmm. Once again.
And so I really think this was just very, like, it felt like they were finally, like, you know, 6 arcs in?
Yeah.
Like, getting their stride of, like, cutting the unnecessary chaff and, like, picking what is important to the theme and the narratives.
Yeah, I agree.
So I thought that was just some excellent writing work on the Erin's part this book.
Yeah, I feel like the editing in this arc so far has been really solid and snappy.
The editing's been, it's been pretty damn solid. I think Apprentice's Quest is the only one that dragged a little bit. Mm-hmm. But so far, like, definitely the editing has been a lot more solid. Which I think leads us to the end, right?
I think so. We talked about One Star's confession earlier. Mm-hmm. And now we have the confrontation. I love the scene at the lake with One Star and Darktail.
Yeah, it rules.
It's so good. It rules.
The fact that water is so heavily important in this book just is really fascinating. We have the River Clan cats like literally engaging in like human warfare tactics of hiding under the water to like come out of the like amphibious soldiers. I
keep picturing, this is because this is like what cinema is in my head. There is a scene in Mulan, the animated movie, where I think the Huns come out of the water.
Yeah, I was literally, it's so funny. Julia literally just messaged me about Mulan, like not even lying 5 seconds ago. And I'm like, oh shit.
Damn, something in the air tonight.
Something in the air tonight. But yeah, no, it's literally like they rise up out of the water to attack the kin. It's crazy.
It's so good. We didn't talk too much about the medicine cats going back and forth to the moon pool to talk to StarClan. StarClan,
that was funny.
It was really funny. StarClan giving them a little hint of like, all of you need to use your special like anime powers, okay? Each clan has their own associated anime power and we need you all to use them together to defeat the kin. It was a fun touch.
Yeah,
it was a really fun touch.
It was fun touch. And it was nice.
Yeah, the River Clan cats coming out of the water, like them driving the kin to the shore, and then the River Clan cats coming out of the water at them.
That was so good.
Fucking owns. And yeah, then the scene with One Star and Darktail. They roll into the lake. They are like fighting in the lake.
And then they just don't come back.
They just disappear and don't come back.
It's
great. What a good scene. And here's what I think. I wish that the book had ended there. I understand.
I agree.
They can't really end the book there. But then they have like one more chapter. And this is where it feels like the
100%.
pacing really suffered. I wish that they had ended it on One Star and Darktail disappearing under the water. And then we pick up in the next book.
Yeah, because it feels like they're just like, oh, and here's what the next book's going to be about. And we're like, no, I think we kind of got the hint previously about what's probably this next book's going to be about.
Yeah, I know that they want to end it on more of like an uplift and with our, sort of what are our heroes going to do. But I think that it would have been stronger if it had just ended with them disappearing below the surface of the lake.
Because it's sick.
It would have been so. It's what a good fucking scene that they scuffle and then they're just gone.
Yeah,
it's great. And then some not that important stuff happens in the final chapter wrap up.
We'll get to it next time, I'm sure.
Yeah, they gotta find a place to put SkyClan, and they have to keep working on fixing things up. It's crazy that this is only the first half of this arc, and that there's still 3 more books. I would love to hear predictions that you have at this point.
I mean, obviously, I think it's going to be a lot of... So I am predicting it's going to be a lot of... I feel like we're going to get some political drama. Because they're going to have to figure out where SkyClan's going to live. They're going to have to adjust to the fact that there's now 5 clans. SkyClan's going to need a medicine cat, which probably means one of the 3 ThunderClan medicine cats is going to have to go train somebody. Unless Frecklewish magically shows up. ShadowClan's got some shit to deal with.
ShadowClan's got some shit to deal with.
Because they've gotta like figure out. They're basically going to be doing what Crowfeather was doing with Breeze Pelt, is like, can I trust you anymore?
Damn, true.
So I feel like there's going to be a lot of drama surrounding Shadow, Sky, and ThunderClan specifically. I think River and Wind are probably going to be left alone for the rest of this arc.
Yeah, probably.
Except for like voicing their opinions on like where SkyClan should go.
Congratulations to Hairstar, by the way.
Yeah, congrats. Weed smoking Hairstar for the win.
My weed smoking leader.
Yeah, I think it is just going to take a pivot into like some like socio-political drama for the most part.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, because I had forgotten that this doesn't happen in the 6th book. I was reading through this book and I was like, damn, I feel like they're getting like a lot of this early on in this book. How are they going to stretch Darktail out for 3 more books? And I was like, oh, apparently they're not. Apparently I've misremembered what the back half of this series is.
Yeah, Scout messaged me. She's like, emergency, we actually need to put One Star's confession next instead of at the end of the series.
Yeah.
End of the season. And I was like, all right, noted. And then I read and I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah, I double checked the like what is concurrent with and what precedes and or proceeds and precedes the One Star's confession. I was like, oh, yep, it's supposed to be here. I totally just put it at the end because I forgot the structure of this arc. So everybody, this is your warning now. You are reading One Star's confession for the next episode if you read along with us.
I think the last thing I want to mention before we head into the Erin Corner, I know we've talked so long today, and we haven't even gotten into the back half of the pod.
I know. Hey, there's a lot to discuss.
There is. I want to talk about water.
Talk to me about water.
Specifically, so I am a filthy English major who is very into like universal symbolism and all that, like knowing like what certain things tend to symbolize across cultures. And water usually like symbolizes life and transformation and things like that, like rebirth. And I do think in a sense, like with Darktail and One Star dying in the water. Like, it is showing, like, we have Sky Clan here now, and Wind Clan is going to have a new leader, and all of this stuff. It does kind of show that this is, like, beginning a new era. But I think what really struck me is how often water is used for violence in this book. And there's a lot of times you will get like water and fire as opposing forces, and water is shown as the more like calm and positive, while fire is more violent and destructive. And as I mentioned earlier, I've been rereading Witch Hat Atelier, which takes those two, that dichotomy, and kind of flips it on its side a little, and kind of tends to go with the more fire is warmth and comfort and water is like danger and destruction. And I just thought it was really fun to see like how much water is used in that sort of way in this book.
I like that.
And just because I've been reading those two things, I was just like, yes, the connection of, you know, water as a destructive force rather than a life-giving one.
I've connected the two dots.
It's just a fun, it's just something I like to see when water is shown as dangerous rather than like...
Fun to kind of build off of that and take it to the next logical point of what alone can save the clans for the last 5 series? Fire.
Yep.
So kind of playing in that space too. I like that a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love symbolism.
Man, symbolism rules. Well, I think that's about all I have for the meat and potatoes of the book. You want to take us to the Erin Corner for some post-dinner coffee?
Yeah, I'll take you over there. It's just going to be a real quick visit to the Erin Corner. Couldn't find that much this week. Found a couple silly little quotes from Kate. From Kate Carey. One of them was a quote about Twigpaw that is inexplicable yet funny. A fan asked, which character in the books most embodies chicken? Where does this come from? I'm not sure. Shout out to that person, I guess. Kate replies, Twigpaw, stating she was the most chickeny cat she had written so far. I don't know what this means, but I wanted to share it with everybody.
I love this.
Do you think this person goes around asking this question to like a bunch of different authors? Do you think this is a person who's like, this is my question that I ask? You know, like this is my thing that I do, is I go to authors and I ask. I think that'd
be really fun, honestly.
I ask, what character in your book most embodies chicken? And I just get to see, this is like a social experiment that I do with authors.
I think that'd be fun.
And then I found a quote from Kate about One Star's apology in Shattered Sky, which included everything he felt bad about, including his behavior with Firestar, such as dissing him. I do think dissing Firestar was probably his least concerning offense, but, you know, nice of Kate to remind us.
You know.
Really funny. We get some real gems from Kate Carey having had a blog where fans could just talk to her.
Yeah. Back in the old day before it was like kind of fucked up to be able to talk to the person that you that wrote the thing you like. Things have changed, it feels.
Yeah, now it feels like now it feels bad. I don't want to bother them. They just did it.
Yeah.
They got enough going on in their lives, you know?
For sure.
But that's it for my little bitty Erin Corner today. What do you have for us in Sharing Tongues?
Good God, I'm gonna have to summarize because there's just so much is the thing.
People went bananas for this one.
Yeah, the people went crazy. So this is the cover that I'd mentioned earlier.
It's really good. It's so good with the ghosts.
There was a ton in Tumblr. A lot of it is just like some sick ass art. This one was really fun from Dragon Eyes 613. Quote from the book, "Killing Needletail is a better punishment than if I killed you. You're so attached to this treacherous cat. You're more afraid of her death than your own. I want you to know what it's like to live with the pain pain and grief of losing the one cat who befriended you and took care of you. And so they said Darktail said this to Violetpaw as if he knew what that was like too. And they said that Smoke, I think, was the only cat Darktail ever truly cared for. My headcanon is that she drowned. And I just think that's a really cool headcanon of like...
Oh, the headcanon of Darktail's mother drowning, and that's why he has this like latent obsession with water with drowning is really good.
Yeah, it's really cool. We've got some art comparing Swiftpaw and Needletail's death, which is really cool.
Oh.
Somebody else, I really like their username, Blorbo Claw.
Blorbo Claw's great.
It says, one thing that would have been really cool to see in Shattered Sky would have been to have a Wing Clan cat refuse to retreat, One Star banish them temporarily, and they then join ThunderClan. For the book, just to put more cats
everybody
in there.
Just have everybody represented. All the clans are represented in ThunderClan right now. What if ThunderClan was all the clans?
What if?
What if
we got some more fan art here. Somebody mentioning the uncertainty about what exactly happened to Dawnpelt being one of their favorite plot threads in Warriors.
Oh yeah.
It's just so good the way it's like Violetpaw hears her voice. Like she hears her talking to Darktail and their voices fade like they're heading out of camp, and then no one knows what happened.
I know.
This post, I feel like I've mentioned this one before. I feel like we had to have, where it's like, actually, One Star is very predictable if you just predict he's going to do the literal worst thing.
Yeah, One Star is unpredictable. No, you just have to predict the worst possible choice, and he will make that. You can predict that he will do that.
Yeah. This other one from Drogon Z. Yeah, Vision of Shadows is definitely a more grim arc. You could say it's a more dark tale. And I just had to boo. Tomato. More art. This is how I imagine Squirrelflight and Tawny Pelt felt through 99% of Shattered Sky. And it's Bramblestar and Roadstar in the background, like shouting at each other, and just Squilf and Tawny Pelt like chatting with each other like, can you believe these fucking idiots?
I know.
Our husbands are so dumb.
They are really just going at it in this whole book. They are bickering.
Apparently, we've got some toxic yaoi. The girlies, specifically, I think this is because of Hawkwing's journey. The girlies are like, what if Darktail and Hawkwing had a little bit of a toxic relationship? And I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah. You go, girls. There's a poll on whether or not you would let Darktail hit the vape. The final result was no, Darktail, you've destroyed enough, with 58.8% of votes.
He's not invited to the blunt rotation at
He's
the
not
horse
invited
place.
to the blunt rotation. Happy Pride. This is another one from Featherdawn. Darktail's the kind of guy who will use your correct pronouns while killing you.
God. Yeah.
Let's see. Just a lot of art and memes, which
I do
we'll
really
have
like
to link.
this one that you posted. Somebody talking about Darktail and Hawkwing. If I were in charge of writing a VOS, I wouldn't have been a coward, and Darkhawk would have reached Death Note levels of toxic yaoi.
Honestly, I want whatever this person is on. I'm obsessed with that.
Death Note has been like on the periphery of my life again, and I don't know how it's happened, but I keep seeing somebody posted some image of L, but it's like he's crouched over and he's got a thong on. I've been thinking about that for like 3 days.
Oh my god. Scout, have you watched Death Note?
When I was like 13 or 14, I would stay up late and I would watch Death Note when it came on Adult Swim. Yeah. And I also read a good chunk of the manga. There is a specific event that happens, at which point I think many readers fell off of it, and I fell off of it at that point as well. Because I had a specific... I bet you know who my Blorbo was in that series, Jillian.
Oh my god.
I bet you know who I was. I bet you know I used to put that little dark circle under my eyes with my brow pencil.
I love you. This is incredible news. Oh my god. But yes, a lot of just like fucking incredible art on Tumblr.
Yeah, there's so much good art.
And this being a audio medium, I do not want to bore you all with me being like, look at this one, and Scout just going, ooh.
But know that is happening.
But know that is what is going on.
I am clicking through all of these and going, ooh.
AO3 has 13 for the book as a whole. We have a Jayfeather and Kestrel Flight ship fic where Jayfeather bitches to Kestrel Flight about 1 star.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, we have one about the 1 star and Darktail death scene. There's a Misty Star centric fic that I'm gonna add to my to read list because it seemed really interesting. It is about her having to flee to, like, her thoughts about having to flee to ThunderClan twice in her life because of power-hungry cats. Like, this is not the first time.
I like this fic already because it is titled with a lyric from a Fleet Foxes song.
Incredible. AU where Feathertail is still alive?
Okay.
Interesting. A Needletail lives AU, and just quite a bit of background character love. I think like there was one, I think it was about like Slate Fur.
Oh.
Was the character specifically that they were like writing a fic about?
Nice. I love a little background character love.
I love a background character. There are 72 for Darktail.
Wow.
Some notable relationships that were written about. Darktail X Reader.
Gamers.
The specifically it was you are like basically turned into you become a warrior cat and
Darktail is there?
Darktail X Reader.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I didn't read it, but I just thought that was funny because I literally have not, like, in my browsing, I have not come across a Warrior Cat X Reader fic before, and I was just like, hell yeah.
Let's go.
They're going nuts for Darktail.
I love it.
Despite Tumblr, like, being real into Darktail and Hawkwing, there's only one fic on AO3 for it.
There must be a very specific subset of, like, 3 friends on Tumblr.
Maybe not 3 friends on Tumblr, because I did see quite a bit of it, but like, I feel like there's like definitely a smaller fandom for it. 4 for Darktail and Smoke. Only 5 for Darktail and 1 star, which, like, I don't know about y'all, but I would love to explore that relationship a little more.
Yeah.
Same with Darktail and Violet Paw. There's only 4 fics specifically about them, and I just find their dynamic so fascinating. I'm like completely surprised that there's not more out there.
Yeah.
There is also a ship of Darktail and Soul, which I think is incredible.
They could have crossed paths.
You know? I've seen like a couple of like just general mentions of like when I was searching like AUs where Darktail and Soul meet up and like both try to take over SkyClan together kind of stuff. It's very interesting.
Oh man, they just missed each other, huh?
They really did.
Wow.
I am shocked that there is no Darktail Sleep Whisker fanfic.
I'm kind of surprised by that too. I think there was some juice there. I think you could write a fic about that.
I think at least
one good fic could be made from that.
Yeah, and like here's the thing. It doesn't even have to be like reciprocated. I just think it would be an interesting dynamic to explore.
Yeah.
Which is how I approach most ship fic. There are 99 fics for Violet Paw, 105 for Needletail, 58 for Twig Paw, 37 for Sleek Whisker. So I'm assuming she becomes important again. And some other ships with characters that are kind of important here. We've got 4 for Needletail and Rain. We've got 20 for Alderheart and Needletail as a ship. 3 for Needletail and Sleek Whisker as a ship.
Toxic
and
Yuri.
1 for... Yep, we got some Toxic Yuri. 1 for Needletail and Violet Paw. There's like... I feel like there's quite a few Yuri fans up in the Shattered Sky fics. Because there's also a moment where Leafpool is like bummed that Bramblestar won't let her go help Mothwing.
Yeah, Mothwing is her girlfriend.
Yeah. Also, I got lesbian vibes from Violet Paw and Zelda, and somebody else has written a fic for them. So I would just like to say that I am correct.
I get that. I get it.
So yeah, quite a few female ships here, which is really nice to see. I cannot mention every single one of the PMVs.
There's so many
MAPs,
of them.
AMVs that I found for this book and the characters specifically in this book, like specifically Needletail and Darktail. We will link all of them, but just know, like, what is this? I've got like 15 to 20 on this page.
There's so many, yeah. I watched some of them earlier. I didn't get to watch all of them, but the ones that I watched, I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah. There is one of them that is a new Needletail map that is got open call right now. It is Cigarette Daydreams, if you want to search it up. One of the ones that I noted, the Poor Unfortunate Souls re-upload, Violet Paw has the inverse of Darktail's markings.
That's very cool.
In this MAP, and I think it's just really cool.
That's a nice little detail.
Yeah, there's just a lot of really neat Needletail ones. The art styles are really unique in some of these.
Yeah, I watched the one that's comic, like it's a comic book sort of layout. It was really cool.
Yeah. The Big Iron one, I don't know that the Big Iron one was ever finished, but it's like a crosshatch kind of style. It's very cool.
Yeah. It's a great little clip, even if, I don't know if that map got finished. Sometimes you find a map part, like a warrior cat's MAP part, and you know that the map never got finished, and you're like, this is a tragedy. This is a tragedy because this is such a good piece of animation, and it didn't end up being able to be cut together with all of the other pieces of animation around it, and it's so sad.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff. Oh, there's a Needletail versus Sleek Whisker one set to Poker Face.
Damn.
It's so cool. It's just, there's so much fun stuff here.
The girlies really went for it.
Oh yeah, Needletail, she's popular.
She's popular.
Which, speaking of, Storygraph, we've got 4.18 stars with 512 reviews.
Damn, it's a lot of reviews once again.
Yeah. Some people feel like the Darktail and 1-star deaths were anticlimactic. I kind of liked them. I think it was really, like, I feel like we got shown enough of how violent Darktail can be that, like, having it be this, like, for lack of a better term, intimate, like, moment that is only father and son killing each other, I think is really cool.
Yeah. I think it's a great scene. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll get, like, more detail on it in the 1-star book.
Yeah, I'm so curious about that. I'm excited to finally read this book because I feel like it's been haunting the podcast
it's been haunting
and me.
The podcast narrative.
It has been haunting the podcast narrative the whole time.
This was a good review. England, I know how you feel. I lost my queen, Needletail, too. Another one, I'm crying. I did not know 1-star was a deadbeat dad. A lot of folks who are also like, we still have 3 books left in this arc. Where the fuck are we going to go from here? Someone mentioning that it felt like a throwback to the writing from Prophecies Begin due to being kind of darker than maybe the previous arc was. I definitely agree. It like has those hints of Dangerous Path, Darkest Hour kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, I think that it's like an evolution on that because I feel like the writing here is generally tighter than it was in those books.
Absolutely. This one was fascinating. I read this in a book club where I only received Alderheart's POV and had to piece together the events of the story with my friends who got Twig Paws and Violet Paws POVs. Really fun. I'd recommend that. That is wild.
That is such a fun idea for a book club. I love that.
It really is. I love that.
What a fun idea to do for a split POV book. That you split the book up by POV and you're like, you only get to read this one. That's so fun.
Yeah. And then I found a couple of posts on Blue Sky. There's some art of Darktail and 1-star fighting in the water, naturally. Someone else who mentioned AU where Darktail is actually Twig and Violet's dad. Which would be, I think, an interesting space to play in. But their comment immediately after their post is, love Hawkwing, though, so I'd hate to have him not be their dad.
That's fair.
Then there was a post, who's your least favorite clan cat? Somebody quote reposted. I lean towards Scorchfur for this answer. He, more so than the Shadow Clan apprentices, was responsible for Shadow Clan being pushed towards Darktail. He never apologized either, and continued to criticize Roadstar afterwards, even though he joined Darktail for a while. Hate him. And I'm just like gagged.
Get him.
I don't even Scorchfur does not appear on my radar.
Does not register.
To hold such hate for Scorchfur.
Shout out.
I have to admire the haterism.
Yeah, shout out.
I feel like Warriors is like Pokemon, where everybody has that one character that they will defend to their death.
Yes.
And one character that whether there's a reason for it or not, they hate to the ends of the earth.
Yeah, that's so true. I'd have to think a bit on who my deep love and deep hate, very hyper specific Pokemon are. I'm sure I have them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Other than that, I would say this is very refreshing for me to have so much that I can't even talk about all of it in Sharing Tongues. This book was incredibly popular.
I love that. I'm so glad because it really deserves it. It's a really good book.
I agree. I think it has a couple of flaws, but it is definitely has ranked up there in my Warriors. Mm-hmm. List.
Yeah. Warrior Cat of the Week time then.
Let's go.
All right. My pick is our local most depressed girl, Violet Paw.
Hell yeah.
I really enjoyed all of her scenes, and watching her be traumatized was compelling reading.
She carried this fucking book for real.
She did.
This was an excellent book, but I feel like Violet Paw made it.
Yeah. Alder and Twig were there, but they were not supporting the story in the way that Violet Paw was.
Yeah.
What about you?
Mine was also Violet Paw.
Hey.
And I'm giving Needletail second place on this because I put Violet Paw because I was like, damn, this book, this is Violet Paw's time to shine. But then I was like, man, there's so many little moments between Needletail and Violet Paw that I feel like I just can't not give Needletail some credit.
You gotta give her a little credit.
But yeah, these two girls, they're my Warrior Cats of the Week.
Good cats. Fly high, Needletail.
Queens. Fly high, Needletail. You had your problems, but you were also just a young girl who was being manipulated. And I've seen some posts where people are like, she was abusive to Violet Paw. I'm like, she was a child trying to take care of another child?
Yeah.
While trying to go through political upheaval. Let's maybe give her a little bit of a break.
Yeah. Definitely not without her troubles. Definitely not without cruel things that she has done. But
yeah,
there's a lot of situational stuff going on with Needletail. Yeah. And that's what makes her so interesting. And that's what makes her a great pick as a
I like her.
Yeah.
Good character. Good fun character to read.
Good book.
Gonna miss her.
Good.
Fucking good book, man. All right. You want to take us out on this chonker of an episode?
This big old chonker. All right. Let's go. Thank you, everybody, for still being here with us if you are. If you have thoughts, opinions, questions, or memes to share with us, you can write to us at pawsandclawspod@gmail.com. That's paws as in what a cat has, claws as in the part of speech, pod as in podcast. We are also on Blue Sky at Paws and Claws and on Tumblr at Paws Clause Pod. Listeners who are 18 years and older can come join us on Discord, which will be linked in the show notes. We are brought to you by the TWG Podcast Network, which you can find at theworstgarbage.online. You can find me on Tumblr or Blue Sky at Humble Goat and see the art that I do, including our podcast cover art, at scoutwilkinson.myportfolio.com.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at plot-twists or on Tumblr at antique-romantic. Our next episode will be out in 2 weeks, where we will discuss the 15th published Super Edition, One Star's Confession. Read along by buying the book from a local bookstore or checking out a copy from your local library. Until then, dear listeners, may StarClan guide your paws.
PWG, the worst garbage, online.